what is this? The Buddha, this Buddhism started with the Buddha sat under this tree and he asked, what am I? Or the same question, what is this, what am I? And this I is big I, not like personal I, my, me, but I. What is this life? Where did I come from before I was born? Where do I go when I die? This big existential question. So they say maybe, this is a myth, but maybe 6 years under the tree, what am I? So this question is like it's a drill. It's like it's not going with the wind. It's more like a drill. It's going into the ground, into this moment. It's very pointed, very directed, so that your consciousness, your thinking mind, if you're asking what is this, what am I, then this can take the place of your dichotomous thoughts, your dualistic thoughts, because you're only concentrating on what is this. So it sounds boring, maybe, too difficult, but actually your mind gets wide and wisdom appears, and that's what, so the Buddha, when the Buddha got enlightenment, first he said, oh, I could never explain this, but he said, everybody has this, everybody. He was not special, he was a human being, just asking this question, and then he saw a lot. So he, just by concentrating and just by not knowing. So, but we have karma, like we have desire, we have anger, we have ignorance, we have opinions, and so if our life is not going well and we feel unhappy, then we begin to question, like, what's the point? Why do I eat every day? Why do I get out of bed? What's the point? So it's not even depression, it's really a question, like, what am I? What is the point? So composting your karma is, sometimes we also say digesting. You digest your karma. It's the same thing, digesting inside the body or composting in the ground is the same process. Different chemicals, but the same thing of trying to take what is not digested, what's difficult, and integrating it into the question, and then these difficult things become your teacher, become your lessons. So instead of thinking it's a detour, or it's bad, or it's frustrating, you begin to see, oh, this is my teacher, these difficult things, and put them in the compost. Let them sit. If you can't work with them right away, you let them sit with you, and you question them, and you take your time. So there's different, at the retreat I was going to explain to different students how to do that, I mean, it's a theory. I mean, you think I say this, but maybe it doesn't mean too much. But if you're actually sitting for 25 minutes, and then again 25 minutes, and how do I spend my time? How do I do that? Then it's very helpful to think that you're just bringing things. They go through. You don't know, and let it go back in. Don't know. You just keep trying to just tell your mind don't know, and just be with. So these two words, don't know, are very important in our school as well. So if you tell your mind don't know, then it's like, don't know what? What am I supposed to not know? Then you want to think, but then you just say again, don't know. Don't know what? Don't know. So after a while, the mind stops thinking, it just doesn't know. And with the question, what is this? That helps don't know, stay with, just stay with. So, in the world, even in Korea, they have all these Buddhists in Korea. Maybe 7% actually practice Zen. That Zen is considered very difficult. But it's not difficult, but there's nothing to believe. There's no dogma. There's only exercise, only try. So, can somebody ask me a question? It's very difficult for me to. I don't feel connected. I don't know what you want to know.
For the beginning, I'd like to stay quite close to the name of the book, and you elaborated a bit about composting. But what is karma according to our school? Is it possible to compost it? Yeah. We have people from our school, and we have people who just came maybe for the first time to the lecture like this.
What is karma? Well, there's clear karma, and there's confused karma. It's like, what are you? Like, what do you want to do? So we were talking in the car, and some people like tennis very much, so they have tennis karma. They're very drawn to it, and it's very interesting. And basketball, they like it. They like basketball. My son-in-law, he loves basketball, and so that's basketball karma. It's not special. It's like, and other people, they don't like any sport. They want, well, maybe they like water, they want to swim, or they want to read. There's a million karmic things. So basketball is karma, swimming is karma. So if you are attached to your karma, if you want your karma and you obsess about your karma, then it becomes a sickness. But if you have a balance, then you just learn from your karma, and it connects with everything else. And so there's a connection. So the reason I call it composting your karma is that you try to see really not karma, but what is my moment? What is my day? What is my vocation? What is my family? What is anything? It's like, what is it? So that you actually, when something is abrasive or you can't quite, you think it's important to follow through, but you just don't understand it. Then what we teach is to give it time, to let it integrate with your life, with other things. And it'll start to break down into something where you can cognate it clearly. You can use it to make your life flow. But if it's just garbage, like for me, I have this kitchen compost just when I'm cooking, and then after 5 or 6 days, there's a lot of vegetables in it, and I'll take it. It's getting full. I take it out to my big compost pile. And this bucket, even after 6 days, the bottom smells like garbage, smells bad, It's like when you dump it into the big compost pile, and you mix it a little bit, and mix it, put some leaves, put something into it, maybe sometimes some fertilizer, mix it, and then you come back in 6 more days, you have a new bucket. You open this up, there's no smell. It smells clean, it smells like clear earth. Even only in 6 days already it integrated. So we can take our life, things that are painful or confusing or out of balance, and we can give it time, but we have to ask, what is it? We have to step back and look at what we're attached to, what we're trying to grab it, we're trying to hold it, we're trying to get something out of it. But can we just ask, what is this for? Who is it for? What's the point? I get up in the morning, what's the point? So often we talk in Buddhism about having a strong center, your gut. So this is actually where we digest. So we compost, even this water, it goes through my whole gut.
So you actually pointed to the physical location on your body.
Not just point, I'll show you. Everybody stand up. Yeah. This is very helpful. You have to feel what it feels like. Just follow, you'll see me do it, then start to do what I do. Good. So when we do that, everybody has only mind. They're not they're not thinking, my name is John, I live over here, today I had a hot dog for lunch. No, it's only, ha! There's no idea. So it feels kind of good, right? A little bit in your head, a little clear. So, so in, you know, I was born in 1948, so we were talking about tennis, you know, it's like, I was watching tennis I played tennis a lot in high school, and now tennis, I don't know how many years has it been, but it's not, they weren't doing this like 40 years ago, but now, you know, they didn't do that before. They understand primary point, because this is a very difficult game. And you not only, first you have to think, how am I going to return it, but how is he going to return what I return? So there's more than one thing going on. When you hit it to the left side of the court, then you have to already decide to move your feet. Your brain has to be really clear, your intuition. So you already, you did this, and then that helps you decide left, right, forward, back, because you have to read this other player's mind, the opponent's mind. What are they going to do with this serve, with this return? And so they learn to do this, to focus, to stay centered, to be in their guts. And you can do that before a test, you know, do it anytime you have to visit your mother, and so maybe you had a fight with your mother and you come to the house, and just before you go in the house, you know, and then, hi Mom, you know, it's like, you could just start fresh, you know, so we call that primary point. So sometimes we do koan practice in our school, and there's many different koans. Some of them are very difficult, some of them are very easy, but if you're practicing for a while, the koans get a little bit more. Do you know what a koan is? Yeah.
Maybe not everyone.
Yeah.
So,
you explain.
Okay, so, well, when you come to a teacher usually for the interview, and this is mandatory to visit teacher, well, she usually asks, how is your life? You start kind of complaining, she nods understanding, says, so it goes. And then she goes, now it's time for you to answer kongan. And this sounds like a riddle, you know, some short story. But it's not that you can logically kind of, you know, explain something. You need kind of to act out. For instance, probably many of you have heard this popular in literature, this kongan, the sound of one hand clapping. Probably you all have heard this. But literally when, you know, the teacher asks you, what does it mean? If you start to explain, well, it's maybe, she says, no, show me. And then you go with some brutal thing like, something like that, you know, but you say literally there was two hands clapping, means you kind of attached to something. And this goes back and forth. So then after some successful answers, you get the question that you cannot answer. And usually teacher is very joyful that you are stuck, you don't know the answer. Her job is done until next time. So this is my explanation.
But usually when this is a setup, it's like there's a reason. Like the teacher usually has a title, and they're sitting, and they usually have a Zen stick, and they have a bell, and they have this book of koans over here, and so they ring the bell, you come in, and then in our school you bow to the teacher one time to show respect. You're not bowing to the person, you're bowing to the teaching. It's just to show humility and respect. And you sit down in front of the teacher. And the first thing that we teach is this primary point, this, but we do it, you can just clap, really. So if I ask you, does a dog have Buddha nature? The first answer always is before, because you do that because you try to cut off your thinking. So you actually try to not think. You only hear the question. You cognated the question. You understand the question, but you don't think about the answer. Does a dog have Buddha nature? And then you learn that intuitively, the answer will come. And most people, maybe they go to 2 or 3 or 4 interviews, they didn't answer it yet. But I'm saying an average. But they just keep that, And we teach to keep that, to, like, as I said, you visit your mother. So you don't have an agenda. You're not holding what happened before or some idea. Only, how are you? Like, fresh day, fresh life, fresh relationship. How are you? That's very difficult to do. But you learn that this actually helps you to mark the moment before thinking. And then, the one, I think in the book I use it, I know I do, because my granddaughter looked at the book. So she's only 12, but she found this page. She said, "Oh, I like this book." And I'm sure she didn't read very much of it, but she said, well, I said, "What did you like?" She said, "Well, the one about the car keys." And so I have this little story in the book about
what? About
Car keys, automobilio raktelius.
car keys.
car keys.
Yeah. So you're going to go to, you have to go to work. Maybe you're this woman, and she has to drop off her 2 children to school, and then she has a meeting, and she has to be there at 8:30, and she has to start the day with her employees. So it's very important she's on time, and the children are on time, and yet she goes to get her car keys, and they're not in the drawer. They're not in the usual place. So you can panic. You go, "Oh my God, I'm going to be late. I'm going to miss that meeting. The kids are going to be late for school," and all your energy's in your head and your throat. I'm going to be late, like that. But that's not clear. That doesn't help you find your car keys. But if you look in the drawer, and many people do this, and not Zen students, but the keys aren't there, and they go. They'll do that. I don't know in Lithuania, but they'll, where are they? But that's primary point. So you're literally, everyday people know that. Don't think only, "Oh, I left it last night. I was walking there in my pants pocket from last night." It came from don't know. Because you didn't think, you just accessed. You might not know it as a person who's not practicing, but you actually intuitively know primary point. You know to stop, just stop. Oh, that's where they are. And I think that's what they do in tennis, and then they can see the opponent, like they can almost read their mind. It's like, he's leaning this way, he's leaning that way. They can almost feel where they're going to move next, because they're really one-pointed, paying attention without thinking. So that's why when the Buddha sat underneath the tree, he said, first he thought, "Oh, nobody could understand this." Then he started to realize that just came from him, still pointed, just being with. Not why is the earth, moving, why are the stars moving? No questions about what is my life, what's the purpose, but just what am I? And then stop thinking, and then this wisdom it's like we walked away from wisdom. Wisdom didn't walk away from us. And if we if we're a little bit still and one-pointed and pay attention, we don't have to be meditating, but moment to moment being with, then the wisdom, you'll be in the wisdom rather than looking for it. You already have it accessed. One way I like to say it is like a fish. It's like a fish is looking, where's the water? And it's in the water. And we're in enlightenment. We are in enlightenment. I mean, it's right here, right now. But we're going, is it over there? So the more you practice, you realize it's just here and now. This moment is enlightenment. But we have karma. So we have habits, we have blah, 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 all kinds of stuff. And so how can we stop sit, and then we begin to perceive our karma and digest it or compost it. So I hope that's a good answer. Are there any questions?
Yes, please ask question. Just
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, sorry, so the way you describe it, it seems like it's a set of inclinations or something similar maybe to the, I don't know, ego profile of the person. The karma you describe is some sort of inclination towards one thing or another, and we should somehow digest or compost it as detaching ourselves from it.
No, using it like heat. You know, when you
Yeah.
compost, you get heat.
Okay,
You
yeah.
get nutrients.
Uh-huh.
I left that part out.
Yes, please, just go ahead.
Yeah, the compost is made out of garbage, but it becomes this rich, wonderful food and soil. You know, it's perfect soil. So, you don't hate yourself or hate your karma, but you try to not be controlled by it and to see it, just to see it. And then it's very useful. Yeah. More?
I started the book to read just recently, but I started from the part about checking because for me those traps described so well, and
Checking.
checking sounds even maybe a bit easy because you can like stop thinking about the past and the future and just come back to present. But for me the most difficult is to understand and come to the holding trap, because sometimes when you lose someone important in your life, like lover or best friend or something, then you feel like lost, like in a winter, like it's no compost, nothing, like just emptiness, and you kind of hold on precious memories and that feelings you have for the person. So how to move on with this?
Well, maybe I should say, like, you're already Zen student, are you? A little bit? Oh, no, you just read about, yeah, I think I must explain checking, holding, and making. Yeah, so the consciousness, if it's when it's not on point, when it's not just in the moment and just intuitively flowing, kind of like music, when you're listening to music, this one note follows another. You're not checking, you're not holding, you're not making, you're just listening. You're not trying to control. You didn't write the music, you're just listening to it, and you just let it flow. And so our thinking can be very useful, and it can be flowing, but very often, the human being is a complicated animal, and there'll be, if it's not flowing, it's like it's checking something, like maybe you have you have to go be with this person for some kind of work, and you're checking like I don't like that person, you know, it's that person's not easy to be with, so you're checking that person. But you have no choice, you're gonna do this work with this person. So rather than checking, you can just go be with and do your best. But we don't, we make this scenario, oh, it's gonna be, so making is like, it's gonna be terrible, it's gonna last a long time, it's gonna be tedious, it's gonna be this. We make that, we don't know, but we still didn't even start the job yet, and then holding is, I worked with him before, he was very hard to work with. And you hold how it was before. You know, that's a very simple explanation of, so if you don't hold how it was before, and you don't check this person because you haven't seen them lately, don't check. And don't make, it's gonna be terrible. Then just go, oh, hi, how are you? What are we gonna do? Like, how do you wanna do it? And blah, 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 go straight into it. And so don't check, don't hold, don't make. But we do that with the most subtle things. Even we could be getting a box of cereal and go, oh, it's already 1 week old, maybe it's too soft, it won't be good. And we don't, but we bought it, we didn't finish it, so why do you just don't check, don't hold, don't make, just take the cereal and eat it. And maybe it's not too bad, but even if it's soft, you could just, it's no problem because you're not checking, holding, or making, you're just getting the nourishment. You know your relationship to the food is going to give you energy, you're going to go to work. But that's a stupid little subtle thing, but we'll still, on the way to grabbing the cereal, we'll be evaluating whether we're gonna like it or not, or is there enough, and so we do that in very complicated ways too. You know, people lie, people lie, they cheat, they want more, and they find ways of getting more, and maybe it affects other people that they took more than they should have taken. It's like crazy out there. I mean, human beings are very, very difficult animals, and so, but if they don't check, don't hold, don't make, then they begin to act more generous, more kind. It's a very stupid thing. There's a book that came out in America many years ago. It said, everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten. It was very popular in America. It's like, don't steal, don't be late, be kind, don't lie. It's just don't hit people. You know, it's like if we just did what we learned in kindergarten, it would be nirvana. It would be this perfect world. But our minds get more and more complicated. So we also have this category, desire, anger, and ignorance. That your desire is out of whack, your anger is out of whack, and your ignorance is just running your life rather than, again, starting from zero and just being with. So, you know, if you're going to take a test, really, before you take your test, and then just do your best. And it really helps you if you're not anxious. You're just doing your best. I use primary point a lot. I was a hospice nurse for like 27, almost 30 years. And I got to know my patients very well. And I was living in the Zen Center, practicing every day. And so I was doing the training, and I was also working. And the training was really helping me because, like we say, when you're doing something, just do it. Don't check, don't hold, don't make, just do it. So you're entering a highway, you're just paying attention to the speed, how to enter, how far is the person in front of you, you know, will you be there on time? You can just know, so you're clear driving. And you know, one day, for example, I wasn't working, I was going to see my parents, and so it was Sunday. I wasn't working, it was a Sunday, and I was driving on the highway to get to where my parents lived, and all of a sudden, my car just took an exit. I wasn't even, it wasn't my idea to take the exit. It was this idea. It was really interesting because I got on the exit, and then I went, oh, one of my patients I saw her Friday, very, very end of life. And I wasn't thinking about it when I was driving, because I was thinking about my parents. But it just, and so I was right close, this exit went right to where she lived. So I went, and I'm not working, you're not supposed to see people. It's crossing a boundary. If I think she needed to be seen by a nurse, I should call my agency and say, she was so sick on Friday, maybe somebody should go see her now. I have a feeling she's not doing well. But it was even, for me, she really, really liked me. I'd known her for maybe 5 months. So I just went, I'm gonna go see her. And so I went upstairs, and she was very poor. She lived up on a flat, like the 34th floor of this very small apartment. And I went up there, and she was actively dying, and she was alone, you know, and I was like, I sat on her bed, and it was just, she was so happy to see me. And she's hardly breathing, but she was alert. She knew, oh, Bobby. And I was holding her hands, and then I started to cry. And I was so, you know, it was so emotional, and I started to cry, and she said, why are you crying? She had nobody. She didn't have a good relationship with her family. And I said, it was so sweet. I just said, because I love you. And she just was like, so happy that I said that. And then she died, you know, it was just, that's for my practice. I'm on the highway going like, you know, I don't know how many kilometers, but 60 miles an hour. And I was just like that. That's clear mind. That's just not, it wasn't here, it was here. It was integrated into my relationship with her. and my vocation is being a nurse and caring. But it's so amazing that something like that could happen, and it's not special really. It's just that you're really, because you're spending some time, clear mind, don't know, just being with, just settling down, not just be with this moment. This center really starts to give you wisdom, all kinds of ways to integrate what's going on in this 24 hours of your day. And you don't check like, oh, am I doing as well as somebody else is doing? How is their practice? How is my? You don't go up here, you just keep trying to focus moment to moment. It's not boring, believe me. It's very powerful. So, any other questions?
Tell us about that. You have much experience with dying people.
Yeah.
Did you interact with them? How to die? How to dissolve into the cosmic experience? I don't know.
No, it's not I was a nurse. It wasn't my job. Nobody can tell you how to die. You know, you die like you live, really. You know, people say, oh, it must be amazing to be with someone who's dying. Well, half of them were watching television when they were dying, or they were dissatisfied, they were complaining, or they weren't questioning, oh, when I die, where will I go? What's going to happen to me? They didn't have these existential thoughts, most people. You know, they were in their habit force. This one patient, I just got kind of exasperated, I mean, internally exasperated, because his wife and his daughter did everything for him all the time. They were so good to him. He never said thank you. I was there for maybe 4 months or something, taking care of, knowing this family very well. And then one day finally I said, will you ever thank your daughter? Will you ever thank your wife? You know, you're not gonna be, you have no time. Say thank you. But he just looked at me like I was crazy. Like, he didn't start saying thank you. But his wife and his daughter liked that I did that. They were on my team. They were like, good, I'm glad you said that to him. But it didn't matter, he's dying. I'm not gonna feel sorry for him. He's got this bad karma of take, never say thank you. And so I finally hit him. I just finally said, when are you gonna learn to say thank you before you die? And so he didn't learn. But I'm sorry, I wasn't sorry that usually you don't do something like that, but I knew them very well, and I was like, so it's not, you don't have to treat somebody like they're a fragile egg just because they're dying. You have to be real, and you have to be with, and you know, it helps if they're actively dying to breathe with them. They don't know you're breathing with them, but you connect with their breath, and they inhale, you inhale, they exhale, you exhale, and you just keep doing that. They don't know you're doing it, but you can get very intuitive with how they're doing and be with. And sometimes they feel that comfort, they feel that warmth, that you're right there with them, and the breath can really help with that. So, but there's no, it's too late to give guidance. You have to ask those questions and do that work before you get sick. When you're sick, it's very hard to practice. I kind of thought oh, people are going to be special because they're dying, but they weren't special. The same way they were before they. You know, actually, people are often get more limited when they're sick. They don't have any chi, and you know, they get kind of selfish, kind of baby-like, like more childlike when they're very sick. Unless they've been doing the work, if they've been. It's not just Buddhism, yoga, just any kind of conscious work. Then you can really they can have a much better death, an integrated death. I didn't see it too often.
Do you learn how to die in your community? Like, you know, Tibetan?
There's no rule. We don't learn how to eat. We don't learn how to shit. We don't learn you have to pay attention and ask those questions yourself. And if you want to learn things, you have to just use your intuition. We don't have any dogmatic teaching or any rules about how to die or something. You know, you have to ask yourself. the first question is, why do I eat every day? What's the point of eating? What's the point of my life? What am I gonna do with these calories? How am I gonna move? And if you can do that, then you can die very well as well. You know, because you're paying attention.
So why did you decide to write this book, and how long it took you?
It didn't take long. I started, you know, when I was only 24, I met my teacher. You weren't even born. You know, I met my teacher in 1972, and we were hippies. I was a hippie, you know, and only hippies came to him. You know, we were all like, we got tired of taking LSD, so we decided to go meet a Buddhist teacher, you know, and get high on Buddhism, you know. But I read a lot about Buddhism, and I really liked it. I really trusted it, and so I met him. And what did you ask me?
Why did you write?
Oh, no, I didn't write this one.
And how
So-
long it took you?
Yeah, busy. So I'm only there like 3 weeks, and he's handing me this clipboard and a pen. I said, "What's this?" He says, "You have to take the precepts." I don't even know what the precepts are. You know, the Buddhist you have to become like, when you take the precepts, you get this. And so I said, "What's the precept? Why do I have to take the precepts?" And it's kind of like the 10 Commandments. It's very similar, but don't kill, don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat. You know, it's 5 things. And he said, just because if you take the precepts, you can help me. You know, we'll be a team. We'll just kind of. It's kind of like if you're going to play soccer. There's the red team and the green team, and here you take this one, you take that one, and then you know what team you're on. And so it wasn't tight like you have to join, but it was just kind of like, you'll keep practicing, just get the cause to help me out. So then after like only 3 years, he made me a teacher, and he gave me this long robe, and he said, "Now you're going to start to give Dharma talks." I was still a student. Like, what do you mean I'm going to be a teacher? And he said, "Yeah, you can give a little talk. You can do it." And so the first talk, he made me give this talk, and I really like this book. It's called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, and it's by Suzuki Roshi. He was one of the first Zen masters to come to America, and it was one of the first and best Zen books in the 70s. And so I had read this book. And even before I met Zen Master Soeng Hyang, I had read that book. And so all day I was so nervous because I had to give it the talk at night. So I had Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. It's like it's Japanese Zen. It's not even my teacher's brand of Zen. But when I had to give the talk, I just read a few of my favorite passages in this book. And I might have said a few words. But my teacher was sitting there, and he's going, good. He's in the audience, you know, he's like, you know, it's like, and it really helped me. I was like, oh, he really likes my talk. It was really a terrible talk. It was just I was copying this other teacher's words, but he was just encouraging. He said, "You see, you could do it. You gave a good talk." And so then it was easier for me to give the next talk. He said you have to kind of use your own words, from your experience, from your practice. You know, and then he started to write things down about some of the things I've been talking about checking, holding, making, and how to do the meditation. And so I started to talk about those things. But that was I started talking in like 1976 or something. And so a lot of it's been recorded and, you know, transliterated through the years. And so then people were saying they have all this stuff I said, and they said, "Oh, you should write a book, you should write a book." But that was, for years, people told me you should write a book. But then I stopped being a nurse, I retired, and I met this person, Elizabeth, she's the editor, and she's like, has a PhD in compiling and editing, and she loves to do that kind of thing. So she said, I'll sort it into topics, and so she wrote all the chapter names, and she got these things that would fit the chapter. So she edited it, then she gave me the stuff, and then I wrote it. It wasn't so hard that she'd already put the chapters in order. So I did it in maybe a year and a half, but only like 2 hours a day. It wasn't so hard, because I'd already practiced that all my life, you know. So I have my favorite things that have helped me. Yeah. Did you have another question about the composting?
Yeah, I can have, so very interesting, from this book. There are plenty stories. I encourage you to read this book. And some stories are very, very interesting. For instance, you tell a story about how you set fire to cabin.
Oh,
where
right.
You practiced this 100-day retreat.
Yeah.
And the way you are describing that, actually you went to sleep outside under the beautiful tree, and you, since the retreat's schedule is very tight, you don't have much of sleep, so you really needed to sleep. But in this middle of a dream, while you were sleeping, you clearly heard this voice, take a look. You of course ignored this.
I was
Then
tired, yeah.
Yeah, then again this voice, take a look. And no, almost this voice was screaming, so you kind of woke up, looked at your cabin. That cabin was on fire, and it's a brand new cabin, so you had real trouble if it burned down. So luckily you extinguished that cabin. But the most interesting thing is your reflections on what was the voice that kind of
Woke
was
me up.
waking you up.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, that's the thing I was saying about that lady dying. Like, I'm not special, but I've been practicing, so it came not from thinking that I had to go see her. It's not up here. It's everywhere. Like, we can get wisdom, intuition, it's integrated into everything. So if you're just practice, like I'm driving time, only drive, but then all of a sudden that I was able to see she was dying, know that I had to go there. The cabin, I was like, I had a bean, it was cold out, so I had this hat on, I was inside my sleeping bag, and I like to sleep outside, so that's why I was not in the cabin. But, so it was like, I did not smell anything, it was inside, all the windows were closed, so the fire I didn't smell it, I didn't see it, I was way in, it wasn't from a sensual smell or see thing with the fire, or heat, because I was very far away, not very far, but maybe from here to here. So, but just this voice, take a look. Because it was a full moon that night, so I had looked at the moon, I was like, oh, isn't that pretty? So I thought, some part of me wants to look at the moon again. No, I don't want to look at the moon, I want to sleep, And so I really thought at first it wanted me to look at the moon or something. Then again, a little bit like, take a look. Then the third time, take a look, looked at really loud. And then I knew to look at the cabin. Now how did I know that? It wasn't I knew that or I knew that, this knew that. It just connected, and so just in time, as it was just starting, the floor was just starting to burn, but it was mostly just the fire was around the stove and a few pieces of wood that were near the stove. But it could, maybe 5 minutes, it would have made real damage. And so I had water outside and I dumped it on the fire. And then I had to clean the cabin, like it was, all the windows were black. It was so much, it was smoldering in there. And so I had to wash, there's a lot of windows. So I kept washing the windows. I was so grateful that beside that cabin, I would have had to stop the retreat, pay for the cabin. It would have been very expensive and it would have ruined the retreat. I would have had to leave and make money to help pay for it. So I was so grateful that it didn't burn. And then I was walking, this is the best part of the story. I had to get more water. So I had these big buckets and I would put them on a stick. I put 2 buckets on this side. There were like 5-gallon buckets. So I was starting to walk towards the well to get some more water, and then I just stopped and I said, I put my buckets down and I went, what woke me up? What was that? What was that voice? What woke me up? Because I hadn't questioned it before. I was so happy I was cleaning. And I said, well, what was that woke me up? And then this little voice, I realized that voice that I heard was my voice. Take a look. That was my voice saying, take a look. Because first I thought, oh, this is the gods from the universe helped me not have to leave my, I didn't know what woke me up. It's like divine grace. Divine grace woke me up. You know, some kind of, in Buddhism we have, I'm not in a Dharma room, I'm looking for a picture, but we have Kwan Yin, Avalokiteshvara. We have this, it's kind of like Mother Mary in Catholicism. It's a beautiful bodhisattva, a beautiful figure that every Zen temple, Buddhist temples, it's kind of a very common, and it means Avalokiteshvara. Our school, our quantum school of Zen, is the same meaning. It means to listen to the cries of the universe. So it's not a god, it's not a goddess. It's like, it's human and the ability for a human being to hear the cries of the universe, to really hear what's going on. And that's what Buddhism reveres, is like to hear the cries, to hear what people need and to help them. So when I first said what woke me up, I said, oh, it was Kwan Boso. I'm not like in a religious way, but Kwan Boso woke me up. And then I went, but that was your voice. And then it just, I got this big, like, Kwan Boso and me are not separate. It was like connecting. It's just that we are the connection. We can connect, you know, but I can't put it, you have to do it. But I had this big explosion where it was better than LSD. Where did it come from? Like scrubbing the windows, and I was doing all these prostrations and all this chanting, and I was happy, but I was just keeping simple, cutting wood, eating very simple food, and then my mind got so simple that then I was able to intuit that the cabin was on fire, and then have this intuition that this voice and this idea of me were never separated. It was just boom. So you could write it down, but it doesn't work unless you practice, you know, to really. So we all have that potential to just have these openings and have trust and faith in the interconnectedness of all phenomena. Everything's connected, but we could say that, but we're not really getting it unless we settle down. And so that's why we teach that simple technique of just don't know. Let your mind rest. Just let it rest. And leave your eyes open so you don't think. For us, if your eyes are open, you're much less likely to dream or fall asleep. You just don't know. Don't know. And it's rest. And then even 5 minutes in the morning, you get up from 5 minutes of doing don't know. And there's a quality. There's definitely a quality because you let your mind rest. So it's very psychological practice. It's not religious. It's just understanding the brain needs to rest. And the questioning, what is this? Then you stop assuming things because you're actually directly asking, what is this? And then your mind's just questioning rather than making, checking, holding. It's just actually noticing, paying attention. So the name of our retreats are named, in Korea, they're named Yangmin Jongjin, which translates in English into to leap like a tiger while sitting. So even if anybody knows cats, if you know a little bit about cats, you've had a cat, they're sleeping, but they're not really sleeping. You know, their ears are, if you just go, you make this little, the ear will go. You know, they know they're, so we say that like a tiger or a cat, it's never really sleeping, so you're clear, you're ready to leap at any time, any place, but you're not, it's not like you're tight about it, but just this fluidity of being able to go into one thing, then into another thing, so it's not boring. I'll tell you, it's not boring. Yeah.
I want to also ask you about one quite more reachable thing for any human being. Like, I really liked your part about doing instead of making. It's like a subtle difference and a huge difference. And your story when you are helping to a woman, it's like not just inviting to imagine or imagining something, but really doing things. Like, what's the difference? Can you elaborate more?
Well, there's a
about
good story that I like. It's an old Buddhist story, I think from don't know if it's from Korea or Japan, I'm not sure, but I think it's from Korea. But this person, or it could have been from China, I don't know. But I don't know how, if it was in China, it's even older than Korea. But this person was a potter. He made pottery. And so he became a student of this very good Zen master, and he wanted to give him a gift. So he said, you know, I'm a potter. I make beautiful ceramic bowls, and I'd like to make you one. And the teacher said, oh, that'd be wonderful, thank you. And so he went to his studio, and he made what he thought was one of his better bowls. And he took it to the Zen master, and he said, here's my gift to you. And the Zen master went, oh, that's ugly, I don't like it. And he walked away from the student. And the poor student is like, oh. So then he was walking back to his studio, and he's like, well, maybe he realized that my studio's a mess. You know, he probably intuited that, yeah, I make these bowls, but my business is not in order, and I don't clean my studio very well. So he cleaned the studio really well before he started this next bowl. And he spent a little bit more time with it, and worked on the colors of the clay. And so he made this other bowl. It was like the best bowl he's ever made. And so he brought it to the teacher. That's worse than the first bowl, and he walked away from him. So then he's going, oh man, what should I do? Why he doesn't like my bowl? And so he said, oh, I know, I should meditate before I make my bowl. So then he has this clean studio, and he spent maybe a half hour in meditation before he started working on the bowl. So he felt like his mind was clearer than ever, and the bowl was better than ever. Takes it to the teacher, and the teacher goes, ugh, and walks away. He didn't like it. So his student's getting a little frustrated. So he's getting a little angry too. So he made the next bowl, and he worked really, no, he didn't work hard at it. Like, what he did was he came back to the studio, he was really frustrated with the teacher. So he just whipped something together really quickly, and he brought it to the teacher. Here it is, and if you don't like it, you can shove it up your ass. Like, he just like, this is my bowl. And the teacher said, wonderful bowl. He took it, because it's like what you said, he didn't have to cultivate and be special and make something special for the Zen master. He just had to believe in his work, just to trust his work, and not worry about what somebody else thinks, but just to put yourself into it wholeheartedly, and somebody's gonna like it. So don't worry, you know, just believe in yourself. So this practicing Zen, again, you begin to, you don't check about what someone else thinks about you. You just go, what am I gonna do? And you do your best. You know, if somebody criticizes, then maybe you learn something and you do your best again. But you never have to worry about someone else liking you or not liking you. You just have to do your job and focus with that. So it makes life much, much easier. So I hope that answered your question. Yeah. You know, after I wrote that book, I'm much more careful with my compost pile. It's like the bowls. I wrote a book about composting, so now I'm turning it more often. I'm making sure it has the right amount of moisture, and I'm really like better than ever. Just because I wrote about it, it's funny. But that's all we can do is try our best and see what we like, see what we're really drawn to, and if you don't know, you might be trying to decide, should I do this, should I do that? And then if you just don't know, even for 5 minutes, just don't know, you'll find you have this thing on this side, this on this side. If you just pay attention, you're gonna lean a certain way. There's something you know, oh, this might be. So then you try that. Just from don't know will kind of get you to lean one way or the other without thinking. But if that doesn't work, my teacher taught me this trick. He said, you can't decide, and you try to do the don't know, and you're not leaning, you're still. And then he said, you take a coin, and it says two choices, I'll do this, I'll do that. So I was in that page. Okay, I didn't know if I put it in the book. So you flip the coin, and it's like it's heads. And so heads was gonna be this thing, and tails was gonna be that thing. So it's heads, and then you go, oh, it's heads. Then you realize you wanted it to be tails. So you really actually did know which one you wanted. But you put yourself to the test and just let the coin decide. And then your true self will go, I don't think so, I think I want to do this. So it's very interesting how intuitive we are. We don't even know it. With so much that we if we just stop thinking, that all of a sudden we start clicking with these certain things. With your children too, if you have children, oh, they're just such good teachers because we don't pay enough attention to them. You know, they are very interesting, and if we could just, it's good for everything, children, your studies, your relationships. Okay, so I'm settling Zen.
Yeah. Yes, please. Maybe you have some questions. Yes, please, Linus.
I would like to ask you how you approached your, like, anything, Buddhism practices, understanding what Buddha is, what the daily practice is, what you want to achieve, changed during the years. But if you can just remember, like, if there were some stages that you could say, oh, from this year or from this moment, something happened and it changed. You know, like like the more you practice, the elder you go, the older you get, you can clearly see how it changes. So, could you share it with us?
Well, the first thing that happened to me was I'd been living in the Zen Center for maybe 3 weeks, and I had a habit of, because I was working during the day, so I'd be driving home around 4:30 from working all day. And I had a habit of wanting to get a cookie on the way home, because there's this nice bakery on the way home, and we weren't gonna eat for another 2 hours or something, and I like cookies, so I would do that, and I was skinny, I wasn't fat or anything, and so it was just energy. So, but it's also an attachment to chocolate, to sugar, to sweet, to cookies, so it's like a baby, I want a cookie, so my little mind wanted a cookie, and then after I lived in the Zen Center 2 or 3 weeks, I was driving home, and I was almost home, I was almost to the Zen Center, I went, you haven't gotten a cookie for a week. I just remembered that I hadn't been getting, all of a sudden, I don't get the cookies anymore. And it was not like I shouldn't get the cookie. It was just my mind was more calm, and I wasn't craving the sugar. And it was a natural process of kind of dropping these unnecessary cravings. And it didn't happen from thinking I shouldn't eat the cookie. It just happened. And so that was after only 3 weeks of practice, and I went, this practice really works. I mean, it had to be my own experience, my own trust, my trust, not somebody tell you, oh, in 3 weeks you won't want a cookie anymore. No, that's bullshit. But it came from here. It was like, wow, you can wait till dinner. You're okay. Because that other part where maybe I won't get enough, and I don't know. I had a lot of brothers and sisters. And we were fighting for the food. But it was like, that mind went away, like, I'll get enough, don't worry, just be here, just drive home. So that was my first thing, and then I would see all the nurses complaining, and I was never complaining. I was like, I just thought it was really cool. I liked even the more difficult patients. I thought they were great. I had a sense of humor. I wasn't like looking down on them, but I thought it was kind of funny the way they were behaving, and I knew how to get to them. I learned how to get them to like me, and really, and to be kind to them. And so I started to have a lot of fun at work with even the most difficult patients. Those are the ones I'd go to. And so they used to say, oh, this new man, he's terrible. Oh, have Bobby can take care of him. My name's Bobby. She can take care of them. And it was a joke, but because I could put up with all these really difficult people. But we started to like each other, because I just cared about them from the practice, like from my own crazy mind. I went, well, they have a crazy mind too. So how do you just help them? People want to be loved. They really want to be loved. And they want to be looked at, and they want to be listened to. and they want you to spend a little time, like really listening to them and asking, well, is that all you need? Is there something else? And it was like, I was enjoying saying, would you like something else? And what was it like yesterday? Yeah, I wasn't here. What happened to you yesterday? Oh, you actually care what happened to me yesterday? Like, people think nobody cares, especially in a nursing home. This was when I was young. I was in a nursing home. These old people are just abandoned, some of them. Nobody's visiting them, or it's really something. So I was like, I just saw, I think it's from practice that we're sitting there, don't know. It's very boring in a way. It was helping me, but and then we'd eat this very simple food, and we'd get up very early, and we had a very tight schedule. And so when I was at work, it would be much more exciting, you know. I would be like, woo! It's like going to the circus or something, because we were so quiet and so steady. I liked the Zen Center very much, but going to work was like going to the circus. I was really enjoying it. So because I had enough, because I was just settled down, having a very, very simple life, and then you can do anything you want. You could just decide what do you really want to do, and focus on that. Because so many times we'll do things because we think we should do them. But there's two words like why is not used very much in practice. You don't ask why, you ask what. Well, what's not why is this happening, but what is happening? And then when you ask what is happening, there is a dynamic, and then you go. Like in the United States, a lot of us don't like our new president. It's very difficult, and it's like if you go, oh, why did he win? Well, he won. Somehow he won. I don't know how. He won. So now you have to go, what can I do? We're out there marching, and we're like giving money to the Democrats, and we're just trying to do something to move the energy away from him. But you can't say, why did he win? You just go crazy, you know? Or the same thing with should. I should do that. I shouldn't do this. But really, what can I do? You know, what is this? What's happening just now? Then your intuition takes you there. It really works. It really, really works. It doesn't have to be Zen, but some kind of meditation just to quiet yourself down. You'll be surprised what you're capable of. Yeah. My teacher had a student in Japan. He lived in Japan for a while. He was totally blind, and he had been blind since birth. But one time my teacher took a cab with him, and it was in Tokyo. It was all these turns and different streets and noises, and the man. And so my teacher asked the student. He said, how can I help the cab driver get where he has to go? Because you can't see. He said, oh, no problem. I don't have to see. So he was like they're driving, and the blind man goes, turn left. Then they're going. He goes, turn right. And then go straight, and the guy knew exactly where he was in this huge city, and he just knew because he couldn't see, so he knew the bumps, he knew the sounds, he knew what was going on in every block because he had been listening, you know, for a long time, and so he didn't have to see to know how to give directions, and Sansani was just saying that's an example of you quiet yourself down, and you just don't look, you just listen, and you just I just look at this table for a half hour. It'll be like, but my mind, it'll be more intuitive. You know, it'll just start to flow and to be more fluid and just settle down. Not want a cookie. You know, it's like these basic things happen when you just settle your mind down. So he was using that example of a blind person, how they can't see, so they don't they feel the bumps more than a regular person. They smell like it's a bakery, so they know, oh, I'm near the bakery, so then we're going to turn left, you know, turn right, whatever. So I don't know. So you know what I mean. It works. It really does work. So, maybe this is enough. Is there any more questions? Oh, you do. Okay.
Have you ever thought to quit or to change a spiritual path? And if yes,
I quit
what-
nursing. I've been tired.
I'm talking about Zen because you
No,
said
why?
it's
Why?
many years. No, not even
Never.
for 1
Oh,
minute.
no. I'm so grateful. I have so much gratitude. And something about dying, like we've had several conferences about death and dying through the years, and my teacher said, he really helped. He said, wait, because I used to have this existential fear about dying. So it's one of the things that brought me to practice, actually, was this existential fear. I just felt like I was going to jump off a cliff or something, just keep falling for infinity or something, just some void, some dark, scary, lonely void. And that's kind of, I got that impression when I was little for some reason, and so I kind of kept it. And then he said, oh, no problem when you die. He said, just say, with your last exhalation, say, take me where you need me. Talk to the universe, say, take me where you need me. So this practice gets you to feel like, letting things take you where you're needed. Not out of a do-good, exhausting type of existence, but just be aware, take me where you need me. And just do that when you die. You don't die alone, you die with your vow, And so, why would I get tired of that? Like, I would never. No, I get more and more grateful, actually. I'm lucky. I feel so lucky. Yeah, I would never quit. Yeah. So a lot of people quit, though. I mean, people used to leave. They'd be there 7 years or something, and they'd leave. I go, oh, why did they leave? And my teacher used to say, more suffering is necessary. They have to just get out there and fight some more, It's not good or bad, but they just hadn't had enough, and they go back. And it doesn't mean that's how it was. But for me, I never felt like leaving. No. Look, I got to take this incredible trip to Europe. I've met the best people.
I have a question.
Yeah.
While you were walking, Rytis introduced you that you are a very big boss. So how are you different from a regular
A boss? What?
Well, you are
manager,
leader of others in school.
So how do you feel different? Did it change you? Responsibilities requiring some extra efforts? How do you feel about that, being a leader?
Well, before I used to drink left-handed, now I drink right-handed.
Thank you.
It's very smooth, no problem. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
At the beginning of the lecture, you said that Zen is not even a religion, something like that. But still, in the Zen centers, there are some aspects of religion, like paintings with bodhisattvas, and we chant the bodhisattvas' names. And how do you feel, is it necessary for our practice to have these religious aspects?
Not for everybody, no. It's very supportive for some people. When you think about the original teacher, this Shakyamuni Buddha, he had tried many different practices. He was in India, he tried these different yoga teachers, breathing techniques, diets, fasting. Whatever was available, he was kind of looking at what was around him. And then finally nothing was working. He didn't feel like he broke through. So he just sat and asked, what am I? So that's the beginning, that's the teaching, the basis, that's the dogma, that's the teaching of Buddhism, is what am I? But then people get, they make dogma, So this what am I is not the dogma, it's just the point. And then people start to make all these images and write these sutras and do all these things. But actually, in the Zen school, we don't do much of that, but we do wear robes because we have a hierarchy. And the hierarchy, it's actually very good because if you're at the bottom of the hierarchy, you don't have to do anything. Somebody cooks for you, somebody cleans up. You're only a guest. You're just a guest. But then you get some kind of title, then you have to take some responsibility. And so my teacher always explained it if you need the police, it's good that they have a uniform because you can identify them. So then we're the police, we have the longer robes. Can you help me do this? Can you? So it's kind of like, it's just efficient. It's kind of like the army too. It's just there's an efficiency with hierarchy. But if people have an ego, then it's horrible because the people with the higher titles can act like, their ego gets involved and they make people feel less than and they get bossy and everything. But it's just, these images can be very, very beautiful and inspiring, but we always talk about not being attached. One of the stories I learned early on was this person was doing a long retreat in a cabin And he ran out of firewood. There was no, it was too cold to go out. He had no, in the house, it was getting very cold outside the cabin. So he had a wooden Buddha, so he just threw the Buddha in the fire. And it's like saying, it's not special. This image of the Buddha is not special. So you can use that for firewood too. And that's something I really like about Zen, is not making anything holy. And yet, you know, everything's holy in a way, so there's things that you can respect and revere without having to be attached to them, you know. So, did that answer your question?
Audrey.
So, when you said that we do not need to compare ourselves to others,
Yeah.
the way others practice, but I came here to see you for that reason, and other people, I want to see how those people who meditate, how do they look like? Do they feel okay? Do they, so, because I need to, what do I need? When I meditate, there is sometimes this experience of a void, which is don't know, when I really don't know anything, and I don't care what happens to me, and it's pleasant feeling, not pleasant feeling, but when I go back from this feeling to basic ignorance, daily ignorance, I remember this void with the kind of good feeling. But what this experience does to me, that I become so detached from everything that was important for me. So my work was based on outreach. I decentered my work, I left my work. I decentered men, I'm okay now, so everything
You
is
what,
good.
men? Decentered?
Decentered men, like, you know, when for some women, men are the center of their life.
Oh, decentered,
Decentered,
okay.
yeah. So basically, I'm better now, I'm more me now, but I'm so detached that from the social perspective, I'm going down, and I'm
Well, then you're not detached if you're going down. There's something bothering you. So that's why, that's the composting, like, what's bothering me? So you just let it sit, but you pay attention. Something's, you say, I'm going down. You said that, so I'm not gonna hold you to it, but when you say something like that, I'm going down, then who said that? Who said I'm going down? What am I? What is this? And so if this said that, this thinking mind said I'm going down, you don't have to believe that. But if you really feel a dissension, you feel something's going on, then you just, again, you compost it. What is that? Don't know. So sometimes you can't compost overnight, but you have to feel and listen and pay attention to that mind that said I'm going down. Like, what does that mean? And maybe even after you're paying attention to it for one day and sitting with it maybe for 10 minutes, and it starts to, it's actually not going down. You know, you begin to feel some sensation where, because you paid attention to it, because you're digesting it, it might alter into, like, when you ask, what is this? Oh, well, it would be good if I did this, and that would feel more like this, because your intuition will get you to do something that's more helpful. So you can't have an idea about, I have nothing, I got empty, I'm decentralized from this or that. No, that's an idea. So only how is it? How is it? Pay attention to how it is. No ideas. Okay? Pay attention moment to moment to moment. Oh, maybe we have to.
Well,
Yeah.
so maybe some last questions you feel can be asked.
What about jet lag?
This is my 5th retreat in 2 weeks. This is my, I don't know how many.
Neuro jet lag in the retreat.
No, because that's why I don't quit. I never want to quit. Good. We had a great day. I saw like 4 castles. And we had I had the best beet soup I've ever tasted in my life. This pink soup. Oh my God. So I've had really good food today, really beautiful. What's the name of the place with the pastures and that beautiful place? We went there. Yeah. So I don't have jet lag. I'm like, wow, Lithuania, unbelievable. I was like really having a good time. Yeah. I'm sleeping very well. I can eat very good food. So, but yeah, I already did 4 retreats. This week. This next retreat tomorrow is my 5th in 2 weeks. But I like it. I just keep going. Yeah. Then when I get home, I'll be grouchy. I need to rest. Good.
Okay. So, if there are no questions, can we kind of thank our? Oh, please go.
How long you will stay in Lithuania? For how long you will stay in Lithuania?
Until Saturday. So a few more, 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah, we have a retreat in Zen Forest, Zen Mishkas.
Yeah.
That will be led.
Starting tomorrow, then all day Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday afternoon. Then Saturday evening, I'm going to Berlin.
Will you come back? You're not quitting, so I will wait.
Come to America.
Yeah, I thought so. I will say my primary point on that. Come to me then.
So thank you very much.
Okay, so let us thank. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. Please follow us in Facebook. We have this Kwan Zen School.